Okay, so we're going to continue the setup of our factory for Amaze CRM. What I've done so far is I've installed ElasticClaw on the server, and I've configured the Daytona Sandbox runtime. The next thing I want to do is configure a GitHub app. The reason that we do this is so that the agent in OpenClaw can have access to the source code, but we don't use a GitHub personal access token. We create a GitHub app, and then when the sandbox needs it, we install a credential helper on the sandbox. And then the agent can use the credential helper to get just-in-time credentials. And so each of those tokens will expire automatically in an hour. And it kind of reduces the risk the risk a little bit. And it allows us to control the scope without having to share a personal access token that has access to everything that my account has access to. So we're going to go ahead and create this. I'm going to look at the docs for how, head over here to GitHub. And this kind of talks about why we do it. And then it talks about the permissions that we need and how to actually do it. So let's head over and add a GitHub app. And so it needs a couple of pieces of information. It needs an app ID, an app URL, and a private key. And that's it. So this is my repo for Amaze CRM. I'm going to head over to the org to start with. So I don't do this at the repo level. I'm going to click on settings for the org. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, include developer settings and GitHub apps. We're going to create a new GitHub app. I'm going to call it factory.amazecrm.com. The homepage URL was https factory.amazecrm.com. I don't need to specify a callback URL. I don't need a setup URL. We're not actually having users install this app. We're just using it internally. I don't need a webhook. So it's pretty straightforward and easy. I do need to set some permissions. So let's go ahead and add the permissions here that we actually say that we need, which is repository contents, issues, pull requests, and checks. We're actually going to get a little bit more than that too. So let's say checks, we need read and write. And the reason that we do that is that way we only need read on checks. And the reason that we do that is so that the agent can monitor CI and see if it's failing. We're going to go to contents and read and write. Obviously, we want to be able to create source code. That's the whole goal here. Issues, we're going to go ahead and give it read and write. That one's a little optional. It depends on the factory. We're going to leave ourselves a little optionality to be able to use issues as part of our factory triggers later. Pull requests, we definitely want to be able to create pull requests. And then workflows. So this one's optional also. We're going to say read and write on workflows. The reason that we do it is because we do want the agent to be able to edit GitHub Actions and GitHub workflows. If you don't want the agent to do that, don't turn that permission on. We're also going to say under account permissions, we're going to give it access to create gists. I like this because I think it's a good way for the agent to share information back for me. But again, some of these permissions are optional. And we're going to say that this can only be installed on this account. So basically, only the Amaze CRM GitHub organization for now. You can choose either of those settings depending on how you want to use it. I'm going to go ahead and grab the app ID here. I'm going to come over to our factory and set the app ID. I need to create a private key. And we're going to look at that private key. I'm going to pause the recording while I drag that in. 1 second. Okay, so we have the private key in, and then we need the app URL. That's optional. It's only useful for logs. And so one of the things that I think it's actually a really useful feature. So we're going to go ahead. We have this set up. I'm going to install the app. I'm going to install it into my org. That way it has permission. I'm going to say all repositories in the org. That's easy for me. I have one repository, but you might specify whatever repositories you install it on is the repositories that the factory can actually have permission to. And so we'll go ahead and install it. And then we're going to grab this URL. Actually, we're going to go to app settings for a minute. We're going to grab this URL. And then we're going to paste that in here. And again, it's just for reference for later. So let's actually go back. Let's click test permissions. And it'll tell us what permissions we have correct and not correct. And so we do need one more. We need statuses. So not set, it needs read. So let's head back over here. Let's go to permissions, and then repository permissions, statuses. Commit statuses. Sounds like the one that we want. So it says we only need read. And we're going to save it. Now, because I did make the changes to it, I need to go to install app, click this gear button here, review the requests and reinstall the application, and come back over here, and then click fixing GitHub. That takes me right back here again. We will click save. We're going to say save anyway. So now we have this GitHub app, and it should check our required permissions. They're all green. So we're good to go. So now I have a GitHub app installed that my factories or my agents that are spinning up will actually be able to use.